In this video, I will share with you 3 tips on how to make a webcomic in your spare time. And by that, I mean how do you make the comic in a way that it's not taking over your entire life, but that you also have the time to work on your comic on a regular basis. Hi everyone and welcome back to Pencils and Stories. My name is Henrike and I help you make your own comics. In the last 2 videos, we have talked about how to get started with webcomics, and today we're going to talk about time management. If you like this kind of info about comics, then consider subscribing below. If you followed along so far, you will have an idea of where to post your comic and also what its technical specifications are. Secondly, we've talked about short comics and how they are a great way to get started in the realm of comics and webcomics specifically, and how they're amazing at helping you try out a lot of different things and experiment a lot. But what if you want to start a larger comic project or even do a few short comics? How do you make the time for that while you also have a job or studies, or you have a family, you have a social life or other obligations? In today's video, I will share with you 5 steps that help me manage my own comic and a YouTube channel and a side business while also having my day job still. Let's dive right in with step number 1. Make a list of everything in your life that you need. These are the non-negotiable things in your life. So this means work, because you need money to survive. This means doing any studies that you have, time with family, time with friends, but also time that you need to make good food, sleep enough, and time that you need to relax. Like, what do you do to relax? What hobbies do you have? What other kind of like activities makes you have some downtime? So write all of those things on the list. Step number 2, make a list of all the things in your life that you want to be doing. These are the negotiables in your life, meaning that they could be cut if you chose to. This can mean various art projects, but also things like Netflix, some social media channels, that one club that you didn't like anymore as much, or that one task that's been on your to-do list for forever. Do you feel the tension in these things? This is usually the area where it's kind of becoming hazy of how to prioritize, and then things take priority based on your feelings and stuff like that. It's less hard. Sometimes it is hard, but it's less hard for the non-negotiable things. Those are just like things you don't even think about most of the time. You just do them. But then these are the things that can get kind of hazy. Your comic usually falls into that category as well. It's easy to plan making a comic, but then it's way harder to actually make time for that and not think at the end of the week, I wanted to work on my comic, why didn't I? But more on that later. For now, I just want you to write it all down, no judgment, just make the list. Step number 3, time yourself for a week or 2 weeks and kind of track where all of your time is going. Be incredibly honest. There's no judging, no shame. Just write it all down as much as you can. Just keep track. You can use paper, you can use a digital calendar, kind of like make a new one, for example, in Google Calendars. It's very easy, and track it in that way. Just note down from that time to that time I did that thing. It's kind of a pain to do this, I must admit. I did it for 2 weeks and it was really hard to keep reminding myself this was a kind of like a project that I was doing because I really wanted to see where my time was going. But in the end, it was a really great way to see what I actually spend my time on. And you can really find some surprising things in there. It was definitely worth it. So now you kind of have data on your life, like how you're spending your time right now. And if there's anything on there that wasn't on your lists, either list 1 or list 2, then add them on there. They're either non-negotiable or they're negotiable. And then also amount for some time where the unexpected stuff happens. It just does. You can kind of see in your calendar, maybe you already have some spots where that happened and you can kind of see how much time they take up or what kind of activities they were. But do amount for some of that time and put that time on the non-negotiable list because it will come up. I'd love to hear from you. What were the things that you thought you were spending a lot of time on, but you actually didn't? And then the other way around, what kind of things did you think you weren't spending as much time on, but you actually were? Step 4. How much time do you realistically have left for a comic? Kind of figure this out by looking at the other stuff that's on the negotiable list, because there's probably some stuff on there that you really want to do as well. How much time do you want to spend on those things, and how much time then do you have left for your comic? You can choose to make your comic a priority amongst these other things. This can be really hard. There might be things on your negotiable list that you also really want to do. But the hard truth is, as long as you don't make your comic a priority, it's really easy to let it just sit in a folder for like weeks on end and not working on it. Because a comic is a lot of steps, it's a lot of hard work, and our time is unfortunately finite. So some choices might need to be made. This is why I don't play any video games. I also stopped updating on certain social media platforms. But you have a little bit more control over this than you might feel right now. If you now know how much time you have for your comic, you have a few options, and that brings me to step number 5. So the last step is to pick any one of these options that I'm going to show you now. The first option is to fit the comic project that you have in your head as is in the time that you have. Depending on how much time you actually have, this might mean that your comic can be done in a year, or in 5 years, or even longer. This is how I approach Recollection City, and that is because I can stay focused on a longer project for a really long time. I know other people can't. And if that's the case, you might want to pick one of these other options. The second option is to adjust your comic style and workflow so you can be done with it in a time span that you set for it. Let's say you have 5 hours in the week. You already know in your head that you want a comic that is 50 pages long and you want it to be done in 1 year. So let's say you take 2 weeks off during the year. That means that in the time that you have left, you need to figure out a workflow and a style that allows you to make one strip or one page in 5 hours. And that will eventually mean that your comic will be 50 pages long and be done in 1 year. This is entirely possible if you make the right choices about being really deliberate with your style, with your workflow, and don't take longer than 5 hours a week. So alternatively, if you still want to make a comic in 1 year, but you want to use a style that will take you 20 hours per page, which is not uncommon, then you know that in order to be done in 1 year, you can make a comic of 12 pages. Because you can only make 1 page a month. So the most important thing about this entire process is really being honest about the time you're spending now, but also being really honest about how you want to spend your time, and then making the necessary adjustments. But what do you do if you simply do not have a lot of time? For some of you, the non-negotiables take up all of your time. We all have seasons in our lives. Not everybody can be super productive all the time, and I don't think there's anything shameful about not being able to do as much of like artwork and comic work as anybody else. For example, last year in 2019, I actually had to take a break from both my comic and my YouTube channel in order to kind of recover from all kinds of family stuff and financial stuff. So I had to take on more work, and it was just really exhausting. And what I did was actually take time for myself to kind of process what happened, and also like did some random errands around the house because that just made me feel a lot better. So that's how I used my free time. And I think that was actually better because I could get back faster than if I just pushed through and make it really hard on myself and put all this pressure on myself. That would actually have hurt me in the long run. And now that I took the break, I could actually come back faster because I take care of myself. So be smart about your time and energy, and only you can make those calls. I hope this video did help you though in getting some of the clarity you need in order to make those decisions. There's way more to say about planning and sticking to a schedule than I can do in this short video. How do you make a concrete action plan, and what do you do when life gets in the way? We'll of course share more about all of this stuff in the coming months on this YouTube channel. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like these. But if you want a little shortcut right now, last year I did a premium video series that was online for only a short amount of time, and I turned it into a mini course about setting your artistic goals. It's a 5-part video series about over an hour where I talk about how to pick the right project, how to fit that into your life, how to make actions for it, how to deal with the life stuff and when things get tough, and how to evaluate and adjust. It also features 2 bonus videos that were never online. It talks about health and about planning your week. If you're interested in this course, you can find it in my Gumroad shop. The link to that's in the description below. If you'd rather want something that's more simple, I also have an email list where I share tips, inspiration, and resources that are exclusive for my subscribers only. I'd love to hear from you. How do you fit your artistic time, like making a comic or another art project, into your time? If you have any tips, please share them in the comments below so we can all learn from each other. As you will see in next week's video, a comic actually doesn't have to take long at all to make, because I did 24-hour comic day last October and I'm gonna tell you all about it. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button below so you don't miss it. Have an awesome week and see you then.